All right. Yeah, after going back and watching the tape, feel pretty much the same as I did last night. Encouraged by some things, that I do think we were able to do well. Offensively, we really didn't move the ball like we have in the past, but there's still some things that were, our third down offense was good. When we had to go down and score to take the lead at the end of the game, we were able to go down and get points on the board. So, that was a positive. Defensively, we did a lot of good things. We took the ball away. We had a couple of fourth down stops. But the explosive plays and just not being able to finish the game when we had a chance to finish the game, that was disappointing. And I'd say same thing in the kicking game. I mean, we blocked the kick, set us up in good field position. So there was a lot of good things on that tape, and yet there was too many negatives on the tape that kept us from winning the game.
How do you feel you matched up or the offense was challenged by the Eagles' front?
Yeah, no, I think their front played exceptionally well. I think it was a challenge for us all afternoon. I think they're really good, in particular, inside at the, defensive tackle position, and I think that was an area that I think they won that battle inside.
Was there anything you saw specifically, I guess, on those two defensive explosives?
Well, the run play to Saquon, we just didn't fit that quite up right. We kind of got out of a gap. We initially fit it up right. They did a good job of blocking it. They comboed up to us. And then once he kind of got out in the open, he's so fast and explosive, we weren't able to kind of run him down. And then the other one, look, we just got to have a little bit better awareness and kind of know how they're trying to attack us. And they got us in man coverage and ran crossing routes, and we ran into each other, and we got to do a better job of having some awareness in that situation.
On that run play, no need for an individual name, but on the run play, was there supposed to be somebody that kind of filled that gap behind where Werner had attacked?
Yeah. We had a little stunt working there, and we just kind of got out of our gap a little bit, and that's the thing when you play a guy like Saquon Barkley, you get just out of a gap a little bit, and he's got the explosiveness to take it the distance. So, that's what happened.
Can you share anything on Eric McCoy?
I don't really have a lot of updates on injuries right now. It's a groin injury. I think we're going through the evaluation process, see where he's at. We'll probably have more information for you later.
You had a number of sort of fourth down decisions to make yesterday. In general, what's your process? Do you try to have decisions made before every drive, and then are you talking on third down with someone?
Yeah, look, I mean it's there's constant communication going on as to what we're thinking. 3 downs, 4 downs. Would you kick it here in this situation? Would you punt it here in this situation? Like that communication, takes place throughout the drive. I don't think we ever start a drive and say, hey, we're going for it on fourth down, regardless of what the fourth down is. But I think, in general, we have a kind of a philosophy and a thought process going into each and every game. Sometimes it might be a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes it might be a little bit more conservative. I go back, and there was really 3 fourth down, kind of decisions that you look at in the game, and you'd say, okay, it's 4th and 8 on the 40-yard line. Do you attempt a 58-yard field goal and go up 6-0 because it was 3-0 at the time? It's 4th and 8. I don't know that that's the down and distance that we're looking for to, potentially go for it on that down and distance. And so based on the way the game was going, we tried to pin them down there deep and, see if we couldn't play the field position game. And I think it kind of played out for us, and that we got pretty decent field position. We weren't able to take advantage of it, but we got pretty decent field position. The 4th and 4 at the 42, that's a little bit more. I certainly don't think you're trying to kick a 60-yard field goal. I mean, that was, what Philly did, and it worked out to our advantage. Now, obviously, if you make that field goal, you think differently, but 60-yard field goals are not really commonplace. I know they happen, and it's good when they do, but when they don't work out, you give your opponent pretty good field position. So I think the decision there was kind of potential go for it, or punt it. And, we chose to punt it there, and I don't think that one came back to bite us either. And then the 4th and 1, that was a no-brainer in my opinion. We're going for that. And, I got confidence that, our guys can go and get it. And we just didn't execute as well as we needed to on that play.
When I ask about process, the first one is kind of one where if you kind of have the idea already that it's 3rd and 8 on the 40 that you're going to punt if you don't get it, does that alter what play call?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Certainly, if you when you're thinking about potentially 4 downs, you might alter the play call a little bit. Yeah.
Dennis, some of the players were accused of playing dirty on Sunday. Like Peyton Turner was accused of spitting on someone. I think some of the Eagles players took issue with Boyd's hit. What was your reaction to hearing that? Like if you did hear it, they had to defend themselves on social media, or felt like they had to.
Yeah, I'd say this. I'd say our guys play extremely hard, and we're gonna compete, until the down is over. I don't think we play dirty. I don't think we ever have played dirty. It's not the way we coach it, not the way we teach it. But we do play hard, And look, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, and nobody's trying to hurt anybody. And unfortunately, that's part of, the business that we're in. But no, we don't play dirty. We don't coach dirty. But we do play hard and we do play physical.
What was the specific message to Trevor Penning after he had just said he needed to be smarter on those plays a week earlier?
That exact message. We can't have that. We can't. Look, you got to have some awareness of where you're at on the field, and that could have been a really costly penalty. I love the aggressiveness, but at the same time, we can't hurt our team.
Dennis, what would you made of Brad Brzez's start, just as a pass rusher specifically?
Yeah, I think he's doing some good things in the pass rush, and I think there's still some room for improvement there. I think he's done some good things defensively, both in the run game and in the passing game, and I think he can still get better. So I think that's where our focus is really focused on how can we continue to improve and build on the way we've been able to start in that regard.
I know it's next to man up, but how concerning is it that McCoy goes down and the front four for the Eagles starts to dominate that line of scrimmage yesterday?
Yeah, look, nobody wants to see, a Pro Bowl center go down, and obviously he's one of our better players on our offensive line. So yeah, that's a challenge. And yet everybody in the NFL has to deal with those challenges, and we expect our guys to be able to go in there and perform. I thought Lucas Patrick did a nice job going in and filling in Eric's spot. So, yeah, I mean, it was a challenge for us, but that wasn't the difference in the game.
Obviously, y'all have been super successful 2 out of 3 games offensively, but like at some point, do you need to see people beyond AK and Sheed and Olave make plays offensively? It seems like they've gotten the vast majority of the touches so far.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think we got to get our playmakers the ball, and I think we got to try to, involve all of our playmakers. I mean, quite honestly, I don't care who it is making plays, as long as we're making them, and as long as we're moving the ball, and as long as we're scoring points. I mean, that's the objective here. So, yeah, I mean, I certainly would love for more guys to be involved, and yet, the object's to move the ball and score points.
When you reviewed the game, were there any things in hindsight you would have challenged, or did you think those calls ended up, I'll be right, Sheed's catch was one I know a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah, well, Alvin's spot's one you can't challenge, so even if I wanted to challenge it, I couldn't challenge. That automatically gets reviewed upstairs and in New York in terms of a, 4th down because it's a turnover on down. So it was obviously one we were looking at pretty closely. And then, yeah, I mean, I think we looked at the Shaheed play, and here's the thing, like, you have to have clear and obvious evidence on the tape, or on the video there, and I don't know that we felt like it was clear and obvious possession, down by contact, play over, so we didn't challenge.
Oh, and then the Devontae Smith fumble after Boyd's hit.
That was they ruled forward progress. Once they ruled forward progress to stop, then you can't challenge. So, yeah, all of those were ones that we were paying attention to and looking at, and that was a question I asked the official was, because it was a fumble and clear and obvious recovery. So my question was, did you rule forward progress? And they said they'd ruled forward progress. So at that point, it's over.
Cam Jordan only played 20 snaps. Was it just based on the match? He also played mostly on the edge where you didn't really move him inside.
Yeah.
Was that just more the matchup, or is that kind of just where he's at?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think you're probably going to see a little bit more of, Chase and Carl, and look, Cam's still a vital part of what we do, but I think we'll see a little bit more of those other guys.
Is that just because Chase and Carl have been more effective, or is there something you want to see out of Cam?
No, it boils down to, effectiveness. And I think those two guys have been playing at a pretty high level, and it's no disrespect or anything negative towards Cam. It's just, that's kind of how this game goes at some point in time, but he's still an extremely important part of what we do.
Do you have to have a conversation with Cam, or is it just one of those unspoken?
Well, I think the conversations have been being had. There's a lot of communication that goes on inside our building.
If McCoy were to miss Sunday, will you have more options to react than you have when it happens on the 3rd play of a game?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's other things that, there's other people in the building that you could potentially have up during the game that would give you a few more options. If that were the case, I mean, once you get to the game day, you got your 8 guys that are up there on game day, and you've got to be able to manipulate the line with the 8 guys you got.
Obviously, they ran into each other, but after reviewing the film, did you kind of have a better idea of why? Was Jordan Howden, did he crash in too soon, or what was?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into the details of, how we teach specific coverages and everything like that. But, I think just, some of the awareness of, the play and how the formation was and, how they'd been trying to attack and that, kind of formation. I think just that awareness would have helped.
The touchdown pass from Carr to Olave, it looked like, was that a situation where it was just like perfect play call against perfect coverage, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the play call was good. We recognized what they were doing, and I think it was a good route. I think it was a good throw. Yeah, I think we executed on that play really well.
And even though there was, he was very wide open in that play, and they still kind of went to the back corner of the end zone. Is that just that's where it's coached to be? That's where everyone expects it to be?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pete Werner said he recognized something he had seen once before on the sort of the fake tush push. Is that something you were recognizing from the sideline as well, or just a great awareness by him?
Yeah. Look, we watch an incredible amount of film each and every week. And our guys do a really good job of studying and paying attention to, tips, tells, tendencies of the, offense, defense, whatever the case may be. And I just thought he made a good play.
Because a lot of your guys' runs are like outside the tackles, was that more so because of the Eagles' front, or was that or did McCoy's injury kind of have a lot to do with it?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was an injury-related deal. I mean, they were basically getting into a 6-1 goal line look, which makes it pretty difficult to run in between the tackles, and so you gotta try to figure out how you can gain yards running the ball. We got into a very similar situation against the Rams back in, I think it was maybe 18 out at their place, and we were kind of in a 6-1 goal line look and had defended the run pretty good, and all of a sudden they started going to the toss play and got a few plays on us. So I think that's pretty commonplace.
Do you expect more teams to try and do that now that the Eagles, how do you think that kind of impacts your offense going forward?
Well, I think when you're big and physical inside at the defensive tackle position like those guys are, I think that, that makes some sense. I think, each and every week teams are going to have different game plans against us. And they certainly had a plan to, try to, stop our running game. And that was kind of the way they went about trying to do it.
Do you like that you stuck with the run the way that you did, though, because it was still a close game? That's, I guess, part of your identity.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can't just abandon the run game. I mean, we wanted to still, try to be able to run it. We had an effective run later in the game with Alvin on the, around the left end. And so, we've been effective running the football, and so I think that's kind of part of what we want to be able to do. And, if the game dictates that we can't, then, we'll have to look at doing something else.
And I know you said earlier you don't have a lot of injury updates, but is DeMario one of those guys that you're still waiting on, or did he check out fine after not?
No, he's one that we're evaluating, yeah. All good? Thanks.